My guest today is Dalene Higgins. She's the owner of Elevate Finances, a financial and retirement lifestyle coaching service for women and couples. She believes you can achieve your dream retirement and leave financial worries behind. Welcome to my show.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm excited to share my thoughts and my motivation for people to be able to do this. You don't have to just not do anything, but you really need to be pointed on what you want to do. And then you just shuffle your money there. So that's what I was doing, shuffling my money to retirement and shuffling my money to the joy and, creating those family experiences in the moment. And
I do
so,
like how your tag is you should dream about your retirement and it's more than just money.
yes. Yeah, because if you're like, I'm just going to retire, that's really vague. Yeah, like, what do you wanna do? And typically, financial advisor will be like, "Well, how much do you need to live on?" Well, if you haven't even budgeted, you don't even know, how are you gonna be able to give them a number? But
hmm
also, is that number, are you using it from where you are currently, or is it creating what you want to do? And so really focusing on the dream and
hmm
building that dream and defining it. So what is it you want to do in retirement? As I was headed to retirement, people are like, "Oh, you should go travel." And I'm like, I don't love the
Well,
travel days. I love to go see new places.
right.
So, it's different for everybody. It's not just about traveling. It's not just about playing golf, which is another big one that's, just go take up golf or something. So really getting,
Could take up golf tomorrow. You could
ex
travel tomorrow and you might decide you don't like to travel and then what?
exactly, exactly. And it's more than that as well, because it's like, what are you going to do every single day?
Maybe it's like what you do now, it's just you're not working.
Exactly. Yeah, and as I transitioned, I didn't really know, but I just thought in my head, I need something to take up, 4 to 6 hours a day. And
So how do we do it? In terms of lifestyle, because you did really inspirational for me in terms of it's more than just money. Trying to paint a picture in my head now. I retire. What does that mean? It's just the age you can retire at. You're not changing a whole lot.
a lot of people just, like you said, they just get stuck on like, oh, it has to be at 65. Why? That's my question to you, is why? And
Mhm.
even if that is the age you're going to retire, what are you going to do? What do you want to do?
You
Going
just gave
about
me an idea. Why don't I just use my vacation now and travel? All of it. Forget the boss telling me I can't use it. I'm taking it all. I'm
Yeah.
doing it now.
Yeah, I was talking with my brother. He worked for Union Pacific, and there's stats that within 1 year, Union Pacific retirees have passed away. There was
Yep.
no thriving in retirement. And so
hmm
that is really the piece that is missing. People
hmm
are worried so much about running out of money that that's
They
all they're focused on.
don't
But
even know what
yet,
they're gonna do.
if you don't know what you're going to do, how do you know how much money you need to save? What do you want to do? That's what I tell people. Are
hmm
you just at your job until you're age 65, but you don't need to be? Have you explored what the alternatives are? Have you thought about, maybe you want to go do something different? Maybe you want to sell your home and go travel abroad for a while. That's easier to do when you're younger as opposed to older. So there's lots of different variations in there. So it's
But
really like,
again, I tell people, before you sell your house and then go travel, take a week or a month off and go travel. Because what if
yes,
I had a friend recently who was like, kudos, everything's fallen into place. She was going to get a job in France working for the Olympics that's coming in a couple of years. Why don't you take just a week off or a month, but a week, go over there, rent an Airbnb, see if you like it.
yeah.
She'd been there before and it was wonderful. She had an amazing time. So she was expecting this to be the dream. She goes over there and she comes back. She's like, I'm so glad to be back. I don't know what happened the first time. I'm like, well, it's easy. It's the
Yes.
cliche that you were on vacation and
Yeah.
things are wonderful. And now you're like, this is what I really do and live. And you didn't like it. So thank goodness you didn't quit your job and sell your house and everything.
Yep. Yep. That
And then
is
you just do it,
great
and then you just
advice.
repeat, rinse and
Yep.
repeat. Like, what's next? Oh, I mean, you could still decide to sell your house, right?
Right.
And sell your car even. What if you move to a town, you move to New York, you don't need a car. You might sell your car. There was one time, went to the Alps, no vacation, and 2 week plane ticket. I'm like, how's this gonna work? I'll make something up. And I get back and my boss is like, we have to pay you. I'm like, what do you mean you have to pay me? Yeah, you can fire me. I mean, I just gone for 2 weeks. No, I did put down in the vacation I was booked. I was gone. I just technically didn't have vacation.
Oh, wow.
Climbing was my priority. Work number two. Go figure that one. I'm an engineer making great money. Like, dude, you lose your job. I have to go. I discovered that when you put the time in the book and you pick a code, vacation or work or sick time or personal time, I realized that that code has nothing to do with can I go or not.
Oh,
Vacation has nothing to do with whether they tell you you have vacation or personal. It has nothing to do with
yeah,
getting paid.
yeah,
As
yeah.
long as my boss is like, you're on salary,
Oh,
I can't deduct 2 weeks of pay. It doesn't work that way.
yeah,
And
yeah.
we haven't fired you. You were not fired when you were gone in the Alps. I have to pay you for being in the Alps. He didn't know what to do with me. So
Wow.
it's kind of like this is beyond my coping abilities. So,
Yeah,
and I also knew by that time human resources was I knew how to work that, what my rights were, how to stick up for myself. So, I mean, he sends me down to the big boss. He sends me down to the bigger boss. I get to the bigger boss and I'm expecting I don't know what. So I'm standing in the doorway. Yes, yes, sir. I'll come and have see it. Okay, yes, sir. Um, I just think you're crazy. I'm just waiting for like, what's the punishment? What is like, and nothing else. I'm like, okay. I went back to the office, and I didn't say a word to anybody. In fact, I went to lunch. I'm not gonna talk about this. Everyone's gonna ask what kind of punishment you got, and I'm not letting this out of the bag. I'm just gonna let them think that I got chewed out and something bad's on the plate for me, and like I'm gonna let them make it up in their heads.
wow, wow.
Yeah. And one day I just decided, you know what? I climbed all the mountains I want to climb, and I don't really like I don't really find value in making semiconductor and computer chips and stuff like that. It's not my dream, so
That's crazy.
left. I liked your tag on your website where it says more than money, because if you figure out what you want to do,
Yeah.
then you can figure out what does that mean. And
Exactly. When we do a values exercise, they're right before the exercise, they're so caught up in their spending. I spend too much
oh,
and
I
it's
like
not
that.
good.
I like that idea. Tell me about the value
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah. So I just have them, choose their top three values.
Yeah.
Define what are your top three values? What do you value most in this life?
Give
And
them some
then
examples though, because
okay, so the examples on there is going to be like family, relationships, love, health can be another one, environment. As we start looking at all their expenses, I'm like, okay, show me how the values line up with how you're spending your money. And they realize, oh my gosh, I am surviving and I'm doing what I want to do. Or I've had one client, she's like, oh, I thought I was spending more on this value area of my life and I'm not spending enough.
oh, give me an example of that. Uh,
Um, she thought she was spending more on creating experiences with her family than she was. She
Popcorn
just
for
wasn't
movies.
spending it on that value. She
Hmm.
was focusing on the other two that she wasn't giving balance. What I always like to say is like just the bills. Are you just creating a bills list because you want to
And let
create
me
a
make
bills
up
list?
one and see if see if it works for you.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to tell you my value is to travel. I want to travel. And but you look at my budget, you have a Ferrari.
You get to do
And
the
where's the
exercise.
value on your
Yeah.
car, unless your car is the top value, which could be very possible if you're a race car driver. Where is it in your value? Maybe you should have bought a used car. Maybe you should sell this, get a used car, because then you can save your money for your travel.
Does the
Hmm.
travel fit in your car? Does your car get you to the places you need to travel?
Oh, good point. Maybe you need
You
it to
know?
road trip. Yeah, if
And
it's an
and
RV.
it's we need to be at a place with our own money where we're comfortable, where we're content, where we are happy with the choices we are making. But people are like, you shouldn't be stopping and getting a coffee every morning. If that is part of enjoyment to you, if that brings you joy every morning, then you go for it.
It
But
was
my
bringing me
thing,
joy until the Starbucks got to be $5 a cup. And I'm kind of like, you know what? I have money. I could do this. No, I'm going to make coffee at home now.
when they come in, I have them choose their top three expenses that if everything else was taken away from them, these top three would fill their life. And what are their bottom three? If I said, no, you have to cut those,
Mm-hmm.
look at starting to categorize your expenses in that way.
I like that.
Yeah.
So my top three, family, travel. Give me a third one. Family,
Actually,
travel.
of your expenses, your expenses that you spend money on. So it might be eating out, coffee every morning, and a movie every weekend. Those would be your top three. And maybe your bottom three are like stopping at the convenience store and just
Getting a
listing.
soda,
Yeah, yeah,
Netflix in high definition instead of standard.
exactly,
Um,
exactly.
just
Yeah.
expenses. So
What of your expenses brings you the most joy?
do you love it or hate it?
Yep.
One or the two. Do I love, love, love this? If I don't, I'm giving it to Goodwill.
Yep, I am an avid fiction reader. If you
Mhm.
took all of my other expenses away, and I'm not talking like your basics for your home. We all have to have, shelter, food.
You don't necessarily need a new iPhone.
Right, right. But you start looking at those extras that aren't sustaining. As an entrepreneur, you're going to need, your stuff, but that's in your business section. So as
Hmm.
you look in yours, in where you're spending for yourself personally, I've had
Hmm.
clients be like, I buy organic food and that is important to me because of my health.
Hmm.
Okay. But you can't do all of your expenses. That's where I start,
This
saying,
is why we have the top three values.
yep, and you just start exploring. So me, if
Hmm.
I could only spend my extra money on books and nothing else, I'd be happy. And so that's the thing is like getting to a place of contentment
Hmm.
where number one, what you're spending your money on, you're conscious about and you know it's the best choice for you. Regardless if it's the Starbucks every day,
Hmm.
regardless if it's eating out 2 or 3 times a week. But it's just not being able to do all of those things.
So doing this exercise, it's more to imagine you're retiring. Like, when can I retire? What will my retirement look like? And by doing this, you go, well, I could retire now if I don't do the low bottom thing. And instead, I do get to do the top one.
Yes.
Then I could retire now, or I know I can retire in 10 years given my savings if this is what my life looks like.
Yeah. So, as you start realizing your spending and how it makes you truly feel and how it serves you in your
Hmm.
life, then you get to those others. I've had many clients come back and they're like, I canceled all these things. I can either do without or do it in a better way. And so a lot of times it's just very naturally starts
They're
shifting
gun
to that
ho. They're ready
state.
to go. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's
So,
do this.
yeah.
Do you ever have people, and then when they do it, they go, you know what? I'm not even worried about retirement anymore, but this just helped me live a better lifestyle.
Yes. Yes. A lot of that, like, I am so comfortable. I am,
Dalene, thanks so much for being on my show.
thank you, Daniel. This
This
was
wish
great.
you the best, helping a lot of people. It's
Yeah.
been educational for me.
Awesome. So
Thanks.
glad to help.
Have a great day.